Last night, the most anticipated bout of the year came off at the Accra Sports Stadium. Let's take some excerpts of what happened. Right now, I have with me in the studio Lexus cruising ring announcer, Citizen Atoll. Nathaniel, it's great to have you in the studio.
Thank you, Steve.
You look good, man.
Oh, we try.
You must have been very tired working all night last night.
Yeah, you know, but we're used to it, so we'll try.
So, I mean, tell me how I know that after the hype, we're anticipating that the bout will come off. I almost said match, right? The bout will come off. So, I mean, what's your preliminary observation about the quality of the bout?
First of all, I'm overly impressed with the build-up to on our radio platforms, Enjoy FM and on Asempa FM. You know, the rate at which the news spread like wildfire, and everybody started, you know, developing that interest in the bout. The interesting thing too is that many non-boxing people found their way to, you know, follow the whole story.
I'm not a particularly fan of boxing, really, but I followed with keen interest, and I watched the entire bout last night.
You know, I mean, and if you look at the numbers that turned up at the Accra Sports Stadium, it was amazing. Regularly here in Ghana, we do Friday night and Saturday night boxing, and it is very rare for you to see Thursday night boxing. And, you know, considering that there were a lot of corporate people, working class people there, you know, you'd think, hey, people were going to shy away from the bout, but I was amazed when I took a look around and I saw the whole place packed. It was beautiful. Incredible. It is good for you know, for posterity, and of course it means that there is a lot of space for growth and there's big potential. The good thing is that, you know, our partners, you know, our broadcast partners, Super Sport, whom we collaborate with for the Premier League, are on this. Once you have television and boxing, you're halfway. Your work is almost 80% done because television is going to rake in a lot of revenue. So it's a good start, and I think that we've lived up to a certain standard in terms of putting together the bout and hyping it. As for the technical, Joshua Clottey managed to land a very big, you know, contract with Bob Arum, the celebrated Bob Arum, and that's how come he was able to land those big fights against Miguel Cotto, against Manny Pacquiao and the like. Same applies to Joseph Agbeko, who also was able to get his biggest fights of his career during his time with Don King.
Right.
So it's a matter of
Nathaniel, I'm told that we're joined by Peter Zwenes, who is the president of the Ghana Boxing Association. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us on today's big story.
Good evening, thank you.
Now, I mean, the match yesterday, although non-title cruiserweight bout between Bukom Banku and Aita Powers, from the association's standpoint, how did you see the bout?
Well, the bout itself, as you noted, was a non-title fight, and initially I thought it was a bit competitive, but unfortunately,
Zwenes, we understand Peter Zwenes is in a meeting and had to make time. We're grateful that you could step aside and have a chat with us. Thank you very much. And so let's get back to the studio, and I'm being joined by James Oyedeji, sports historian. Yes, how are you, sir?
I'm very fine.
Great. So seeing Banku and Aita Powers, I've just spoken to Peter Zwenes, who is saying that it looked the bout was more one-sided. Did you see it like that too? That it was one-sided? It was more a Banku pushing the punches and making it relevant on the night? Is that what you saw?
Yeah, that's what I saw, but I'm not disappointed in that because that's what was expected. And when you have a catchweight fight, although they labeled it cruiserweight, but when you have two boxers with a variation in their weight size for that fight, then it's a catchweight. And in most cases, the heavier boxer overwhelms the lesser weighted boxer.
Oh, then it means that this feeds into the argument Powers is asking for a replay.
Oh, a replay will be given to both boxers without asking any time. Because I saw the atmosphere, it brought back old memories. In fact, yesterday I wept tears of joy because what I'm recalling for you to enjoy is that we had this annual fight between Joe Pobi from Accra, heavyweight, and then Ekon Krani, Go Mango from Sekendi. And then we have Jimmy Stampede from Accra, middleweight, versus Anthony Joe of Takrad. And we have Ekron Popola from Koforidua in the army fighting Joe Oke. Oh, it was fantastic. It's like the parents were there for the action. So this Ayite Powers, Bukum Banku, has become a parent. It has brought back old memories of I will always beat you, I will beat you.
Yeah.
So what was important to me is that the whole the cross section of Ghanaians have accepted this fight that boxing should be revived. And if boxing is revived, then we are going to see the rivalry that football is lacking.
Nathaniel, I mean, talking about reviving boxing, which direction should we be going? I remember that when I was having a chat with you you raised the fact that it's important to groom younger people to replace the old generation and carry them forward, develop brands and develop names which can sell. I mean, is this on the platform somewhere?
Definitely, definitely. What needs to be done is that we strengthen the factory or the amateur ranks, because the amateur ranks brings in all the talent. Now, what we need is a proper succession plan so that we know that when this set of boxers go for the African Championship, they go for the Regional Championship, they go for the IBA Championship, which is the World Championship, they can go to the Olympics, they can go to the Commonwealth Games a couple of times, and then after that, when they are ripe, they can get into the professional ranks, and then they do not enter into you know, wishy-washy contracts here and there, because this is what affects a lot of the boxers. You know, just because of a few CDs here and there, they get people say all the sweet talk into their ears, and they go and sign these contracts without having to know anything about them. And this has affected many people in the past. Get all of these things done so that we know that there is a certain waiting generation of boxers to always fill in the ranks when we have one set that have assumed world fame and are gradually fading out. What is also important is that now that we've been able to grow our own form of promotion of local bouts, it is good. It is good for business purposes. It is good for the commercial effect of boxing, and it is going to bring in a lot. We've got television as well now. Like I told you, this last fight that we saw was beamed in several countries on the African continent, and that is good for us. It means that we can even have a Floyd Mayweather Jr. one day.
My mind comes to Azumah and his skill. I remember, I wasn't too old, but I remember clearly that when I look at Azumah in the ring in a fight, and I look at the skills that were demonstrated by Powers and Banku, I'm thinking that Azumah was a great fighter than these two. I might be wrong. Is that it?
No, you're perfectly right, but it's not necessary. The comparison is
it's way unnecessary.
Yes,
why is it unnecessary?
Because this Azumah Nelson that came from the ranks. Do you know Azumah lost the qualifier to pick Ghanaian boxers for the Olympic Games or the Commonwealth Games? He lost, but he was replaced. He replaced someone who got injured and went all the way to win ABU. So when Laporte was to fight Sanchez, 81, and he had a broken arm, they said, oh, let's go to Africa and bring one boxer for Sanchez to use 3 rounds to play with him and take him off. At the end of the 3rd round, he saw that this African boxer is yes. So around 14, Larry Holmes was doing commentary for NBC and said, I'm enjoying this fight, but I wonder whether the Ghanaian boxer, the African boxer, sorry, can keep his guard for 15 rounds. It is impossible. In the 15th round, Sanchez was edged on to quickly finish the fight, and then in over enjoyment, you know, he lost his life. Now come back to the real skillful boxers. Boxing is learnt or taught at the age of 11. If you pass that age, you only be a very good fighter. You may win your fight like Bukom is doing. The skills are not there. Yesterday, I didn't see him dividing the ring. He just kept on using this direct approach, going to Powers, using very good uppercuts overhead, making Banku by the same side. The hit of the Banku are now to concentrate. 2, we don't even have the skills to know your weight. That is what killed Banku. Whilst Powers was trying to increase the weight, you are also to lose your weight, but you are also increasing the weight. I don't know whether it was eating more back. But it was a fine spectacle which I enjoyed. And before I go, I don't have time. please, you have to honor this man.
Yeah,
It was
Nathaniel.
so fantastic.
You were great for the night, though.
Thank you.
I mean, what's the future like? I mean, do you see good things coming?
Well, I mean,
you were
for
going to
me-
get involved in active promotion of boxing, right?
Definitely, definitely. For me as well, it's going international with what we do here. It's not only within Ghana because, like I said, just like we're showcasing the talent, just like we're having world champions, every other thing about boxing, including what I do, should also go international. That is it, isn't it for me? But for me, as a journalist, boxing has always been my main beat anyway. And I've followed many stories. I've followed, you know, I've done many investigative stories that have brought out, you know, a lot of change and all of that. And for me, it's a great time to be involved in the process of reviving the sport and making it count. Because
And boxing is worth reviving, you would say?
Obviously, look, for 40 years when Ghana tried so hard to qualify for the FIFA World Cup, there
Boxing
was
wasn't,
boxing,
I think,
and
yeah.
boxing was putting Ghana on the international map.
That's right.
So there is every reason for us to support boxing well. James Oyedeji mentioned already that at the Olympics, football has a medal, which is a bronze medal. But there we are, we've got 3 medals for boxing. You know, we've got Prince Amate, Aikwote Senior, and Eddie Blay, the late Eddie Blay, you know. So this is it. I mean, it's a big sport. We've got the talent, we've got the pedigree, we've got names and faces, we've got 8 world champions. There's every reason to double that figure within the next 5 to 10 years.
Right, thanks, gentlemen. Nathaniel Arthur works with us here at Joy Sports, and James Oyedeji is a sports historian. We'll be right